Good evening, YouTube. Jerry Garcia, The Grateful Dead. World's greatest cover band. Some of my very favorite musicians. He died way too young. They all live hard lives, but all I can say is, fuck heroin. Stay away from it, guys. Girls, kids. It's what happens when the government lies to us about the hazards associated with mind-altering substances. They lie to us about weed, so we think they're lying about everything else. Next thing you know, kids are getting hooked on heroin and fucking overdosing everywhere. Enough of that. So anyway, just discovered a really cool YouTube channel with a lot of Grateful Dead videos up, and they're one of my probably my all-time favorite bands. But the real reason for this video was not to rant. Captain Freckles has put together a list of 8 questions that she wanted people to answer, and then tag a few individuals and have them answer, and so on and so forth on down the line. And I found myself getting tagged in that string. Big Flakes 88 did a response and tagged me, so thought I would come on and return the favor. This evening I am smoking my Whitehall Jumbo billiard, and in it I have a blend from the Tobacco Barn that I picked up about 1.5 years ago. It was part of their English sampler. This is Tobacco Barn Silverado. It's a nice English, and if you saw my previous video, I jarred this one up at the same time as the Writer's English Delight that I smoked in my last video, and it also, or rather this one also, like the other English, has really mellowed out and turned into a pretty tasty tobacco over the last 1.5 years. I really didn't care for either of these two tobaccos. They came in a sampler. Didn't really care for either of them when I got them, and I don't know if my tastes have changed or if the tobacco has just mellowed so much that it's become something that I really enjoy. But anyway, enough of the housekeeping. Enough of the ranting on our government and illicit substances. On to the meat and potatoes. I've got the 8 questions written down here and my predetermined answers jotted down here. That way I hopefully won't forget anything. So without further ado, the first question that was asked was, what is your favorite tobacco? And I have to agree that Shane, Big Flakes 88, he called it Frogmorton Cellar. I think out of all the tobaccos that I've tried, this is the one that I keep going back to over and over again. It's always a good consistent flavor. It's always a nice smoke. Good stuff. If you haven't tried it, check it out. It's in my opinion the best of the Frogmorton series. Second question that was asked was, what is your favorite pipe? That's a tough question for me. I did a quick mental tally before I took off on the road last night. I was kind of goofing around working on my cuckoo clock that hangs next to my my pipe racks and tobacco cellar, and I kind of glanced over and did just a quick tally of what was there in the cabinet, and I ran through my head the inventory that I had out in my shop, and somewhere north of 50 pipes. So I got a pretty good rotation, and out of all those 50, there's so many of them that I really, really like. It's hard to pick just one favorite. One of my favorites is MIA. I've lost it, and it still drives me nuts. I was going to take it down to Nashville with me last year, and I picked it up off of the counter to take with me, and then I went to my car and I came back and I loaded some stuff up, and I haven't seen the pipe since. So I lost one of my favorites. It was a Brebbia Lido that it was an awesome, like, super craggy rusticated Dublin kind of shape, and it was just phenomenal. But anyway, that one's lost and hopefully not gone forever. But so anyway, my favorite pipe. Boy, that was a little bit of a ramble, wasn't it? I've got it narrowed down to 2 pipes, and it's a toss-up, and I just can't pick which of the 2 is my favorite. But one of them is that little Group 3 Dunhill Bulldog that you've seen me smoke in a few videos, the one that I compared to the Dagner pipes in my little comparison video. I'd have to say that that little Dunhill Bulldog that I scored is probably my favorite, but this one is a very, very close second. This is my Joe Case Dagner Slayer. Joe made this one specifically for the Southern Fried Pipe Show. Oh, upside down. You can see his stamping there. That's a 2014 Dagner Slayer, and really solid smoker. It's a lot different than that Dunhill. The Dunhill is small and lightweight and just smokes English and Balkan blends like a freight train. It's just fantastic. This one smokes really, really well. It does well with flake tobaccos and about anything you put in it, but it's just a different kind of smoke than that Dunhill. It's a little heavier. It's not quite as easy to clench, but it's got a nice open draw, and it's really nice when you're sitting around, reading, bullshitting, drinking, whatever. It's just a nice little pipe. So those are my 2 favorites. Excuse me, and I'm going to try not to let this video run on too long. I don't want to bore you guys with my thoughts and opinions, but it was a fun little thing to do, and I thought since Shane was nice enough to tag me, I'd be nice enough to answer these questions. So, moving on. Question number 3 is your favorite place to smoke. Well, this time of year, being winter, and given that I'm in the Midwest and it's freaking cold, and Mama won't let me smoke in the house, I'd have to say that my favorite place to smoke this time of year is in my shop. That's where you see me do the bulk of my videos lately, is either here in this shitty hotel room or out there in my shop next to the fireplace. I like to sit out there next to the stove and smoke and noodle around on the lathe. And then summertime, my favorite place is out on the deck, on the back of the house. You've seen some of my videos. I kind of live in a nice wooded area, and I really enjoy being out there on my deck smoking. Taking in nature and the trees and the birds, and the occasional deer comes charging across the backyard. So that's my favorite place. But given that we've actually got 4 seasons here in the Midwest, it's spring, summer, and fall location, and then early spring, late fall, and all winter long, and be up in my shop. Let's see. The next question. 3 tobaccos that I would recommend. Well, one of them, obviously, is my favorite, Frogmorton Cellar. I found myself, when I first got back into pipe smoking, excuse me, I kind of went towards the aromatics like a lot of people do, and then I got turned on to Englishes and Balkans, and I haven't looked back. I'm kind of an English Balkan smokers. So anyway, my 3 tobaccos would be the Frogmorton Cellar that I've got here, and the other 2 would be Sam Galwith's Balkan Flake. That is, I would say, probably the best flake tobacco I've ever tried. Penzance is very good, but it's scarce, and you know it's kind of hard to get a taste and make a favorite of something that you can't get very often. So that the Sam Galwith Balkan Flake, in my opinion, is a nice substitute for the Penzance, and that's the second tobacco I'd recommend. It's, like I said, one of my favorites, probably my very favorite flake. And then the third tobacco, kind of a budget tobacco, but it's really good, mild to medium-bodied English, and that's Sutliff's Blend No. 5. And you can get that in the 1 3/4 ounce tins, and they also sell it in an 8 ounce tin. And I think Pipes and Cigars has got that 8 ounce tin for like $15. I mean, this is a 100-gram tin, and it's 15. It's, well, depending on the sales and where you're getting it, it's $13 to $16 online, and if you walk into a brick and mortar, you know, it's usually $20, $25 for a 100-gram tin. Well, you get an 8 ounce tin of Sutliff Blend No. 5, which is, it's not Frogmorton, but it's still a damn good tobacco, and it's $15. So, you know, it's a great introduction to English tobaccos. It's mild enough that it's not going to be off-putting. It's got nice flavor. It's got some nice leather, sort of leathery notes to it, which is something I really like. That's one thing about that Sam Galwith Balkan Flake that I really like, is the nice leathery texture, you know, taste to the smoke. It's really nice. The next question: where do you buy your pipes and tobaccos? Well, I've already said Pipes and Cigars is where I like to get my tobaccos. You know, you order $100 worth of tobacco, which isn't hard to do. Free shipping on anything over 100. So free shipping, no sales tax. Pretty good bet there, and they've got a nice selection. So I get most of my tobaccos from Pipes and Cigars. As far as pipes go, you know, if you guys have been following my channel at all, you know I like to restore estate pipes. So my favorite place to shop for pipes is small town junk shops, antique stores, and flea markets. A little bit on eBay, but it seems like with the explosion of the YouTube pipe community and the recent surge in interest in pipe smoking, the prices on eBay tend to get out of hand pretty quick. And you gotta, from what I found, you've got to kind of find something that somebody doesn't really know what they've got, and they haven't really listed it very well in order to get a decent deal. Otherwise, you're going to spend, you know, almost as much as you would for, you know, an estate pipe from one of the online retailers, or, you know, that kind of thing. So they get pretty pricey on eBay. So I would say flea markets, junk shops, antique stores. That's my favorite place to go shopping for a pipe. There's nothing like going in there and, you know, finding a pipe that you wouldn't be able to necessarily afford new, you know, for 8 or 10 or $20. You know, a couple hours worth of your time and $20 or $30 out of pocket, you got a damn nice pipe for not a lot of money. So that's where I like to get my pipes. I do buy some new ones occasionally, but the bulk of them are estates. Let's see, the worst tobacco you have ever tried. Easy question. Half and half. I think it's half dog shit and half bullshit, because that stuff is nasty. I know, like Alex Bird, I know he likes it. You know, he's smoked it off and on for years. A lot of guys love it, but I'm not one of those guys. It is quite possibly the most foul thing I have ever put in a pipe to smoke, and I've smoked some foul stuff. Matter of fact, the first time I tried it, the only time I tried it, it was so bad I couldn't go for a second bowl. But the first time I tried it, it took like 5 or 6 bowls and an alcohol treatment to get the ghost out of the pipe. So yeah, half and half is not for me. Favorite thing to pair with a pipe? Early in the day is coffee, and in the evening, nice whiskey on the rocks. This one happens to be Woodford Reserve. It's one of the few bourbons I like. I also like a nice single malt scotch, and I know you purists out there would cringe, but I like it on the rocks too. Something about the ice melting down, and I don't like to add water to it. That way, the first couple of sips just smack you full of flavor, and as the ice melts, it kind of opens up the water, and it makes for a nice, relaxing beverage to sip with your pipe. Let's see. On to the next question. Oh, let's see. Name a channel to watch. One I recently discovered, and I've been most impressed with, is Posthuman Piper. From what I gather, he's a longtime pipe smoker. He's got an extensive cellar of aged tobaccos, and he's currently doing a series on cellaring tobacco, and he's got some really good information, really easy to watch, and I think he brings a lot of knowledge to the table. He's going to be one of those guys that starts out with just a couple of subs and then rockets to YouTube stardom, in my opinion. So if you haven't checked him out or found him, check him out. Posthuman Piper. Good videos, good content, easy to watch. That'd be my recommendation. And then they wanted us to tag someone to answer these questions, so I'm going to follow Shane's lead, and I'm going to tag 3 people. I'm a wrench. Stephen, I'd like to hear your responses to this. And Daniel Shore, I'd like to see you do a video and answer these same questions. And Haunted Tank 75, Eddie Gray, down in Florida. I'd love to hear your response. And I have drugged this out and rambled on for 17.5 minutes, so I'm not going to keep you folks any longer. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to hearing the responses, and like I said, check out Posthuman Piper. I think you'll like his content. Enjoy, folks. Till next time.